Hey, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores. This is my first video testing out all of the new equipment and everything. I hope it comes out right. We'll see. I've changed a few things to the live streams. Y'all will see on Sunday how updated the live streams are. There should be more HD. It should be a lot more going on. I'm excited about that. Of course, you already hear the new mic. Been using it on a couple of videos. I'm still tweaking with it to get the best sound out of it as possible. So all of that, man. We're coming with new backgrounds for videos. Like this black one you see behind me, man. We're upgrading everything, but the main point of this video is that it's a lot of chaos going down in Washington. You got players fighting, you have players catching COVID-19, going on the COVID-19 reserve list. You have a handful of injuries. Jason Wright came out of nowhere and told people that the new name options have been narrowed down. And then Brandon Scherff also speaks about his contract situation and his vaccination status. So if anything, this is technically like a Rico report. I'm gonna come out with a video later today, hopefully, if I have time, because you know the Friday live stream and another radio show I do before that. So we'll see, but I definitely want to do a video summarizing day 2, yesterday's training camp, and today, day 3's training camp, just consolidating them, putting them together. So stay tuned for that as well. But before we get to this chaotic video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Also, make sure you check out the rest of the channel. All of my videos are organized in playlists. I even have a comedy playlist for all of my funny videos. And also go check out my Jamin Davis rookie film session. I'm working on film sessions for the entire rookie class leading up to the regular season. So stay tuned for all of that. Without further ado, let's get it. All right, so we're gonna start with the COVID-19 cases and injuries first. I want to go ahead and get that out the way. Again, I'm tired of talking about anything COVID-19, but it's just something I have to report on. Not here to give any opinions, just want to state the facts of what's going on. First of all, Cornelius Lucas was already on the COVID-19 reserve list, but as of yesterday, they had to add Matt Ioannidis, cornerback Chris Miller, and wide receiver Curtis Samuel to that list. Curtis Samuel was already on the PUP list because of his groin injury. Now he's on the COVID-19 list as well. And him and Terry McLaurin were living with each other at some point during the offseason, so maybe they don't live with each other anymore. But that's pretty crazy that Curtis Samuel has it and Terry McLaurin does it, especially with how close they are, not even just living with each other, but just how much they're around each other on the field, off the field, and all of that. So as of right now, we have 4 players on the COVID-19 list. Hope it doesn't get any worse, but I don't know. I'm scared. Looks like we're on track to end up forfeiting a game or 2. I mean, we have more players on the COVID-19 list than we have of days practiced. But again, hopefully it gets better. But Matt Ioannidis' situation is weird because first of all, he was one of the only 2 players that caught it on our team last year. If you remember last year, we were the best NFL team at dealing with COVID and avoiding it, stopping it from spreading from one person to another. We only had 2 COVID-19 cases, and none of those guys were on the active roster at the time because Matt Ioannidis, I believe, was already on the injured reserve, so that doesn't even really count. None of them really count. But it seems like he's caught it again. But then his wife went to Instagram and said that he doesn't have it, so I don't know. He's still officially on the COVID-19 list, but we'll see how that develops. But in somewhat positive news as far as injuries go, Tim Settle has passed his physical and he is back on the active roster. And then as far as like regular injuries go, Cam Sims got a little hurt today, but he was good. He returned back to special teams practices. He was able to walk off the field on his own before that and everything, so he's straight. Bobby McCain also got hurt yesterday, but he looks to be straight. Right back, full going practices. And then of course there's Curtis Samuel still, who's on the PUP list and the COVID-19 list simultaneously. But what's interesting about him is that on one side that makes me not feel like I need to panic is that yesterday in practice, he went out there and tried to just run regular practice drills with the rest of the receivers. Somebody had to go pull him to the side and be like, you can't do that yet. You're still injured. You're on the PUP list. So to him, the injury isn't that severe. I feel like the Burgundy and Gold are just erring on the side of caution in a big way. Like if there were a game today, he'd probably be able to play, but they still have him on the PUP list because they don't want to take any chances. And then on the side that does kind of make me want to panic a little is just the fact that he's been dealing with this groin injury since June 2nd. Now, again, for the reasons I just gave you, it sounds like he may be almost fully recovered from it, at least close to it. But it's still crazy that this injury has bothered him this long, June 2nd. Also, important news to me, we went and signed another freak athlete tight end. His name is Nick Guggemos. I hope that's how you pronounce his last name. Nick only played 1 year with Division III St. Thomas and only had 1 catch. But he is 6'5", 252 pounds, and ran a 4.52 at his pro day. If you're going off R.A.S. scores, him and Sammis Reyes are literally the 2 most athletic tight ends to ever play the sport of football. Granted, this guy has almost as little as experience playing the tight end position as Sammis Reyes, so he's just as much of a project. But to literally have the 2 most athletic tight ends to ever try to play football is really interesting. And the fact that we released Deon Yelder and then signed this guy, Sammis Reyes is ahead of schedule, but he's still not ready to necessarily play if we had to play a game tomorrow. But it's interesting to bring in another project just to see what we got. I mean, we have all of these guys, and you know, our coaching staff could be content and be like, well, we should be straight here, but they're still out there looking for more. Even while John Bates looks good, Sammis Reyes is again ahead of schedule. We already know what we have in Logan Thomas, but this is not a lazy coaching staff. They're still looking for talent, even if our talent's already really good, or is at least very hopeful. Next up, you have Brandon Scherff. Brandon Scherff spoke at the podium today, and the first thing you have to notice is that he had on a mask, and unvaccinated players are required to wear masks when talking to reporters inside. Maybe he just chose to wear it. But Brandon Scherff also spoke on his contract situation. He said he's comfortable playing on the franchise tag. I know he's lying. And then he went on to say that he wanted to stay here long term like he's been saying, but I'm not going to believe any words out of his mouth. His actions have said that he doesn't want to be here long term. At least he prioritizes having this ridiculously large paycheck over staying here long term, unlike Jonathan Allen, where he was cool with taking a somewhat team-friendly deal so that he could stay here long term. Brandon Scherff just doesn't seem like the guy that's willing to do that based off of his previous actions. I don't care what he says to the media. And then he even went on to say that he's very confident that he can reach a long-term deal with Washington after this season. But at that point, he'll be an unrestricted free agent, so then there will be other teams involved. We will have no advantage over signing him other than a franchise tag, and we're not going to franchise tag him again. He'd be getting somewhere around $25 million for 1 year for a guard. That's the whole reason we're struggling to sign a long-term right now, because we don't want to pay him in the 20 mils per year. That's literally quarterback money. He's not even a tackle, and he can't stay healthy for a full 16-game season. But yeah, I don't know how he feels like as an unrestricted free agent, he's more likely to get a long-term deal done if he couldn't get one done while he was already franchise tagged and that window was open. Because again, once he's an unrestricted free agent, anybody can make a move on him. We have just as much of a chance of signing him long-term as anybody else, and if anybody else wants to give him even a little bit more money, he just seems like the type of guy, based on his decisions so far, that he'll just go to that other team, like a Eric Flowers, how he took that extra $2 million per year to go to the Dolphins, like Ronald Darby, how he took a little bit more per year to go to the Broncos. Brandon Scherff definitely seems like he's going to be that guy, but we'll see. Also, along with Brandon Scherff not disclosing whether he's vaccinated or not, Chase Young also went on not to disclose whether he was vaccinated or not. I think it's like a unity thing. I think even players that are vaccinated, other than Terry McLaurin, who just flat out said he's vaccinated, but he's not applying any pressure for anybody that's unvaccinated to go get vaccinated. But I think there's like a unity thing, especially amongst the defensive line, that maybe Chase Young is vaccinated, maybe Jonathan Allen is vaccinated, but they won't say if they are or not because they don't want to apply pressure to the guys like Montez Sweat, who we clearly know isn't vaccinated. I don't know. That's all just speculation. Again, I don't want to talk about COVID-19 a lot, but whenever it's something to report, I gotta report it. Next up, man, it's been some fights going down, man. Today, it got really chippy. It's really hot outside out here out there, and it looked like it on the field, man. Tamarick Hemingway and Chase Young were getting into scuffles. They had to be separated several times. It was like back-to-back plays. They were getting in situations. Lots of pushing, lots of talking. And even at one point when Hemingway went to the sidelines, he was still angry about the situation with Chase Young. And then Cole Holcomb and Sammis Reyes started getting into it. Cole Holcomb even punched Sammis Reyes. Sammis Reyes had to be held back from Cole Holcomb. And then, of course, reporters had to ask Rivera about all of this chaos going on with all of the fighting and see how he felt about it. And of course, he said he's not a big fan of it, but it is a teachable moment. And he went on to say that he talked to the players about it after practice, and he said he's not a fan of the fights. Doesn't see the point because in games, it's a penalty and it just hurts the team. He doesn't want that form of passion. And then I also want to speak on some of this NFC East chaos going on because the Giants got a lot going on right now. I mean, the Kelvin Benjamin situation, y'all should already know how I feel about Kelvin Benjamin. You already know Cam Newton's one of my favorite players, if not my very most favorite player in NFL history. You know, Southwest Atlanta, same high school, Westlake, all of that type of stuff. Adam Pac-Man Jones, Malik Willis, you know what I'm saying? And Kelvin Benjamin's always had problems with Cam Newton that weren't even necessary, so I've always just rooted against him. And to hear that he got cut by the Giants first day of training camp was hilarious to me. Don't wish anything bad on him, but of course it was funny because it's just obvious that it wasn't Cam Newton that was tripping, it was Kelvin Benjamin. And then he went on to just completely rip apart the Giants. And with me already not really liking Kelvin Benjamin much, I'm not going to go on his side and just assume what he's saying about the Giants is true. That would be super biased of me. But he was saying that the whole thing with him being signed was a hoax. I mean, he literally directly went at their head coach, Joe Judge, and was talking about how he can't coach. He'll never win a Super Bowl. That was an exact quote. He said that he's a know-it-all. That's not how it's supposed to work. I mean, he just went on a whole rant. He said he felt like that they didn't even give him a chance. He said, I finished conditioning. I finished all of that. I did what I was supposed to do. Everybody in the building was telling me I looked great. They never wanted the narrative to be good about me. So he feels like they had a personal vendetta against him. I don't know why they would sign him in the first place. If they did, I don't know. But more importantly to Giants Nation, their boy Shane Lemieux was carted off of the field. He's their starting left guard, and they already are projected to have the worst O-line in a division with a lot of great defensive lines. We have the best in the NFL. The Cowboys is really good. The Eagles is really good, even though they're getting older. So this is the worst time to have a bad O-line in this division. And then on top of that, on paper, with them already having the worst O-line in the division, now they lost their left guard. Who knows how long he's going to be hurt? I haven't seen any recent updates about it, but I hope he's okay. I don't wish injuries on anybody, even if it's an opposing team, a division rival. But I mean, it's getting crazy for the Giants. And then the Cowboys aren't safe either, because Dak Prescott had a latissimus strain, so he already has a little small injury after returning from a big injury. And typically, the past shows when guys come back from certain huge injuries is always some random little nagging injuries that pile up over the rest of their careers. So we'll see. Again, I don't wish injuries on anybody, but I definitely feel like people need to keep track of what's going on with Dak Prescott and watch him. They may want to hold him back in training camp and not risk him getting hurt anymore, because they're going to need him in regular season. Without Dak Prescott, they're probably the worst team in the division between them and the Eagles. And then lastly, Jason Wright came out of nowhere and said that Washington has narrowed down their list of possible names for the team. That's crazy news right there. And there was also a report that Jason Wright said that we will know the new name before the draft. And that's crazy because it was early 2022 when we first heard it. And that's kind of a wide period of time, not very specific. And even before the draft isn't extremely specific, but it's nice to know that before we go and draft our future quarterback in the first round, speaking it into existence, especially if we don't get an Aaron Rodgers or something, we will already have our new name, logo, branding, everything. So at least we know before the draft, we should stop having all of these stupid debates online about what the name's going to end up being and why it should be this name, why it shouldn't be this one. Finally, the Burgundy and Gold Nation can come back to being as one. But yeah, man, that's the end of this Rico report. Please get in the comment section and let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please like this video if you liked it, if you learned anything. As always, man, please subscribe if you haven't. Hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately and every time I release a video like this one. I'm pretty sure you learned something, so you gotta leave a like before you leave this video. Much appreciated. And as always, I appreciate everybody that donates to the channel, making all of this possible with all of the new upgrades I'm getting. It's getting crazy, y'all. I'm telling y'all, still a couple of more things to come to add to the quality to the videos and streams. You'll see, man. It's about to be a really fun 2021 season, I'm telling you. And of course, I appreciate all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors, whose name you see scrolling on the screen right now. Man, I really appreciate y'all. That's why y'all get the exclusive version of film sessions, the full length versions. I really appreciate all y'all, man. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.